Friday, and I've got to go down to the local pathology, had a blood test. On Wednesday I got this delivered. I didn't actually get an alert to the truck turning up, so thank God I was home. But it's actually, that's supposed to be 1.2 metres, two of those containers that you put dirt into. So it's a raised garden bed. So that must be half the length, and you must have to bolt them together. Of course, it's made in China. But yeah, that got delivered with took about a week or so to get here, so it wasn't too bad. I bought it on eBay, about 10 days ago maybe, and so that was good. Delivered to my door. I haven't opened it up yet. Got to find out what's involved. Put it together. I've also got to get someone to fix my electric door here, the shutter door. I've already contacted two companies. One that said you just have to get a new motor, which is the easy way for them, and it cost me $700. There's nothing wrong with that motor, by the way. It's nothing to do with the motor. It runs up and down that rail quite normally. It's the connector there. There's a plastic piece that goes into that and connects to the actual motor itself, and that's the problem. And but these days, people don't want to fix things, they just want to basically take the easy way out. You go to a company supposedly specialising in this sort of stuff, and they just want to rip you off and just get a whole new set of stuff. It's easy for them, and it's a sale, and they don't have to do any work, and that's why they do it. But it doesn't do you any good. You're out of pocket much more than you should be, so it's ridiculous. Anyway, I'm going to look and see if I can find a handyman who can do it. The guy who did this door, the lock here, it used to be just a latch up the top here. He did a good job. It cost me about $280 to get that put in, and he's pretty good, but I can't get him. He's always in demand. And I contacted my plumber about a leaking toilet the other day, and he's flat chat, but he's a good guy. He got back to me, texted me, and he's pretty good. I gave him a really good review. Maybe that helped. But I generally think he's a really good tradie, so they're golden up here if you get them, especially a plumber. It's fantastic. So anyway, I better just get to the I was thinking about riding the bike up there, which I could do. It was looking a bit threatening with some of the clouds over that way, but that doesn't look so bad now. But I think I'll just walk it, because it's actually hard work going up the hill. There's a sort of wispy breeze, and it's enough to basically cause a bit of a headwind. And because you're going up, yeah, I can feel it now. It wouldn't be easy. I'd be pretty stuffed by the end. I was just wanted to find out if my health would improve to the extent of my endurance with bike riding, because it seems to have gone pretty badly. That place almost looks finished now. So I'm not sure, but that's the only reason I do it, just to test my fitness, to see if I'm actually okay. But I'm breathing okay, I'm fine. I wasn't when I had all that hay fever a couple of months ago. That was horrible. When I came back from Vietnam, it was pretty bad. It's quite a pleasant day today, just sort of low 20s, good for a walk, just about 20 to 10. And you find a lot of people walk along the road here. It's not unusual. They're walking their dogs, or they're just going from point A to point B. But I just hope that the pathology's open. That's the main concern, because they'll use any excuse not to open. It's a very small pathology, and they're only open till about midday. But I want to coordinate it with Liquorland so I can buy some grog. I did a check of how much gin costs, the beef eater. Dan Murphy's got it back in stock, but they're charging over $10 more for a bottle on special. That's a member's amount. They're charging over $45 a bottle, and it was only $35 a few weeks back. And that was both at Liquorland and Dan Murphy. So I don't know what's going on. There seems to be a lot of profiteering taking place at the moment, because I know it's an inflationary period. But I'm just going to wait until the prices get more reasonable. I noticed the coffee's the same. I looked at there's a ground coffee that was on special for $16 just a couple of weeks ago in Coles. That's the Harris coffee, ground coffee for 1 litre, I think, or 1 kilo. I'm not sure. 1 kilo, I think it is. But that was on special for 16. Now it's on special for 20, which was actually the normal price in the past. So yeah, it's getting pretty bad with certain items. So you got to be very selective. The way I shop is, if it's something that's non-perishable, I wait until it comes on special, and I'll buy it. I might buy it in bulk. If it's non-perishable, it doesn't matter, and that's fine. But you've got to try to budget the best you can, I think. Of course, all our problems are rather trivial compared to what's happening in places like Ukraine at the moment. They're just fighting for their lives, so you know, our concerns are very, very trivial. Although things could well get a lot tougher as the year progresses for us as well, but not to the extent that our lives are in danger, at least, or not yet. I tried out my hearing aids again yesterday, just watching a bit of TV, because I've always found it hard to hear the dialogue on the Samsung TV, and that was one of the things that sort of was an incentive to basically get me to look into the hearing, get the check done at Specsavers. I find them uncomfortable to wear though, because you've got to have those, you've got to shove the bloody them right into your ear, to the eardrum, so it can be a little bit irritating. Even though it's only thin, it's also got to sit on the top of your ear. The whole thing's a little, I've only used it a few times, and it still feels pretty weird. Also magnifies your own voice quite a bit, because the microphones are on top of the hearing aid with the battery compartment, which sits on the top of your ear. So your voice is going to be accentuated. So it's not that natural in that respect. It's sort of got a bit of a tinniness to it because the higher pitches are being emphasised. So not ideal, but I was able to make out nearly all the dialogue on the TV, so that was an improvement, I guess. I'm going to test it again today at the meetup at the beach shack just down the road here, and that way I'll avoid getting the bus again today, which is nice because I can't stand. God, I'd be a terrible commuter if I had to do it 5 days a week. I'd go crazy. It's a very long bus ride. Well, not so much to Smithfield, although that can take almost half hour. One of the advantages of being in Parramatta Park was I didn't have to take the bus anywhere. I could walk to nearly everywhere I need to go. So that was a luxury, but it would only work for me if I had a house near the city, and that would be pretty expensive, although not more I don't think more expensive than here, but it certainly wouldn't be as nice a lifestyle, and that's the most important thing. Because things like crime rates, you know, especially Parramatta Park and adjoining suburbs, is not great. So, you know, chances are you might get broken into or whatever. It's just nicer feel around here. For instance, I can actually buy my if the port's still on discount, the Wolf Plus, I can buy it now. I don't have to wait until, I think it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon if you're in Cairns Central or Smithfield. They have restrictions on when to sell it, but not here on the beaches. Well, I got my blood test, as you can see, and only on one arm this time, and I don't think I'm going to get a horrible bruise like I did last time. It was a different woman doing it, and they changed the system as well. Sorry about the framing there, I'm just trying to get all this crappy hair away from my face. Yeah, they've changed the system. You normally go in the side door to get in that way, but now you have to go through the actual GP practice. There's a door on the side there. So anyway, a guy in a car actually told me outside the car park because I was waiting outside, because that used to be the system about a month ago and they've changed it. But anyway, there was some woman waiting before me, but I got in pretty quick. It only took probably I had to wait about 10-15 minutes, so it's not bad. And like I say, the woman did it first time, because I've had a bit of bad luck lately with needles, because I've had two nurses who were, the previous did the blood test. They had to do it twice, and I got bruises in both arms, and I just recently had to have another needle put in, and they got it wrong, and it took 3 times to get into that one. So you can be stiff. It all depends who's doing it. Some of the nurses are just excellent. They really know how to tap a vein. So there's definitely expertise involved there. And I got my drugs, and I got some more booze. I've got a cunning plan tonight where I'll have myself a glass of red wine. I got myself some new Cab Sav Earthworks. I haven't tried them before, and I'll have a glass of that before I get to the beach shack. When I get to the beach shack, I will order 1 glass of red while I'm there. I figure that's fair enough. So I'll do that, and because it is a nice spot, and I don't begrudge them making a little bit of money out of me, but at $9.50 I'm not going to buy more than 1 glass. Mind you, I spent $20 on beer last week at the beach house in Trinity Beach. That was excellent quality, excellent value, I should say. But yeah, $9.50 is just a bit pricey, but if they knock a couple of bucks off it, I might sort of be more inclined to have another one. But look, I live so close. I've got that luxury. I can sort of preload myself with at least 1 glass of red before I turn up there tonight at 5. So I'll see how it goes. It might be worthwhile me having a wander down to the end of the Cottesloe Street. Actually, it's just here. I could actually do it now, but I want to get back home. But just down the end here to see what sort of progress is being made on the extension of Cottesloe Street through to Kewarra, through to Clifton Beach, because this is my only potential shortcut right now, is this park, which runs down the back of the other streets, down the back of the left bank skirts Bondi Crescent. So that is the shortest way for me to get back home, but there's no defined pathways along there, unfortunately. It would be a great area for them to develop with some walkways. A couple of bridges across that creek would be nice. But I guess it's all about money, and the most important priority is to get the bike trail completed. I'm in 2 minds of whether I'm going to get the electric bike. So that's something I'll be thinking about buying. It's on eBay at the moment. It's still at a discount price. If you put a voucher number in, you'll get about $150 off the cost of it, so it brings it down to about $1,600. And there are bikes with better stats, a TDR I think they're called, but I think they're Chinese, and again, who knows what the actual quality of the components are. This one is made in Europe, so you'd expect it to be pretty good, although there's a guy in calls himself Vietnam expat, and he's got an e-bike and he rides it around Saigon, and to my knowledge he's one of the only people who's got an electric bike in Vietnam, and he's had it for 2 years, and he bought it as a kit, so he put it together himself, so he's obviously fairly adept at that type of thing, way ahead of my competency. But he he said that he's having some battery degradation after a couple of years. Now, you should get about 3 years before you need to replace a battery. And they're not cheap. They're the most expensive component of an electric bike. So battery technology is really, that's why so much research money is going into improving batteries, because it is the missing link. Things like renewables at the moment, you know, solar and wind, the biggest problem for them is that they don't give a base load power supply, which is what nuclear does. And of course the traditional coal, gas and what have you. But renewables might have come down in price, but they don't provide you with reliable, steady flow of juice, which is what we need. But the only way to get around that is to have, say, a cheap storage system, and the most, probably the only one that's, one of the only ones that's viable at the moment is like a big lithium ion battery farm. But again, the cost of that electricity is very expensive, and it can only be justified to use as filling a gap when the prices surge, which they do, but you wouldn't again use it for base load power. So if they can come up with a really cheap option, a battery that's cheap and is able to be recharged many times, that is the holy grail. And then all of a sudden, all this intermittent power produced by these renewables can be stored and become a more reliable flow of power in the form of stored battery power. But I'm afraid the day of that becoming reality is probably at least 5 to 10 years away, I would think. But we can only hope. I mean, I think it is the way of the future. I would love a world where, of course, then you know, cars and what have you, electric cars, rather than just using coal power to basically run, which is what they're doing these days. They're using, in effect, dirty electricity to run a supposedly clean car. It's clean in the urban centres it's driven in, but where it's produced is still not clean energy. So, you know, it's a joke. So there's a fair way to go, but I think EVs are the way of the future. The motors themselves are much simpler than an internal combustion motor. It comes down to batteries. Got to get a higher density of electricity, a density of energy within the battery cells, and once you can sort of like double that, then you're starting to really look at a possibility of EVs being the norm rather than internal combustion. So we'll see. But the other thing, of course, is the recharging time needs to be shortened substantially to make them practical as well. And they're working on all these aspects. They've got so many different formulas of chemistry to try to get the optimum battery, and I think they will eventually, but it's a time frame. And you know, Elon Musk, who is the king of EVs, I guess, he's admitted himself, he says basically the hard thing is getting the manufacturing right, and he's had that problem with his own new battery cells, the larger ones. I think what they call 480s or something. They're much bigger cells than the current ones they use, and they give a higher energy density for that reason. But again, they're an interim technology before something like lithium sulfur or something like that comes on the market and is viable, because it's going to have a hell of a lot more energy. So yeah, I can imagine urban environments would be very nice if people driving EVs, because the sound level would drop substantially. It would have a huge quality of life improvement, I think. And what I'm looking for is the full self-driving function. If Musk can make that work, gee, that's rare to see a cop car down here. Wow, that is a real rarity, which is a good thing, in my opinion. But yeah, you don't see many of them down here. But yeah, as I was saying, there's a few problems to get overcome with the technology. I don't have a car, I don't drive a car, but if they had full self-driving, you wouldn't need taxis because your own car would drive you around. Because once you take the human aspect out of it, you don't have to pay someone to drive you. The cost drops substantially. So I think for people with me, like crappy eyesight, who could never get a driver's license, it'd be a boon. And it would give me independence that I don't have at the moment. I don't have full independence when it comes to travel. So it'd be wonderful, yeah. That's why I love being in Vietnam so much, because I can afford to go anywhere on the grab bikes. For me, it's a total change in lifestyle. I mean, like, it only costs like $2-3 to go 5 kilometers or more on a bike. I mean, it's fantastic. But over here, to get, say, an Uber from, say, Bunnings to here, which would be probably around 7K, something equivalent, you're looking at around $20, maybe slightly lower. But it's not bad, but it's nowhere near as cheap as a Grab. Mind you, Grab, you're on the back of a motorbike. Now, if they had the similar situation here with motorbike travel, if you could actually get on the back of a motorbike, but again, I think the reason you can't is because of all the regulations. It'd be an illegal nightmare having a passenger as a pillion passenger, paying pillion passenger on a rideshare service in Australia. I think it'd be a legal aspect that would hold it back, because I've never heard of anything like that happening here. It should be cheaper though, because obviously the fuel's cheaper, but the biggest cost in Australia is labour, not fuel anyway. Whereas in Vietnam, it's the inverse of that equation at the moment, but it won't be like that forever, because I think the Vietnamese economy is going ahead leaps and bounds. It's almost as if COVID didn't exist. They did have a bump with COVID, but they've bounced back really fast, much better than, say, Thailand, for instance, who have actually recently just made visas much easier to get. They've actually, now that a standard visa, if you turn up to Thailand, is 45 days, not 30. So they're finally doing something really practical to encourage tourists back to the kingdom, and that's a smart move finally, because they made some pretty stupid moves in recent times, in my opinion. And there's that walkway which takes you to the park. Please consider subscribing to my channel if you think there's anything there of use to you, or entertainment or whatever. And either do that or give me a thumbs up, or if you're feeling really energetic, do both. That'd be great.